Hello again, Struckwap, and welcome to another Warhammer Chaosbane build video for Konrad the Soldier. This is for the Meteoric Iron set, and I've decided to call the build Meteoric Herald. It's Soldier build, of course, and it is kind of a new experiment, new take on that set from me, where I'm using certain skills I never used before. In my builds. Well, I did use in my recent builds, but not in the Meteoric builds. So the build doesn't do as much damage as a Pistolier, nor does it do as much damage as a Solan's Holy Justice build. But it's very nice for supporting your teammates with different buffs from various sources. It's also nice for taunting the enemies, keeping them away from your teammates. You can play it so if you want, but the damage is not that good for something like what you're gonna be seeing in this video, Chaos 9. So suggested would be probably Chaos 8 for the build, if you wanna solo reasonably fast. If you like the challenge, yeah, of course, go Chaos 9. You can do it. The build kind of has decent survivability and okay damage, so Chaos 9 is doable, just probably not as fast as one might want to be doing runs when farming for stuff. So you can see I'm surviving, face tanking some of the stuff. There's not many things that I cannot face tank with my current setup on this build. Yeah, every now and then I might need to go out of danger, but that's rare cases. And the damage is not so bad, and definitely amazing buffs for the whole team, which later in the other segments you would find out about. But it's roughly excluding the 100% damage we do with taunt. We buff each other with taunt. We can buff the whole team for another like 120, 115 something percent extra damage. And then we get that other 100 from taunt for ourselves only, and it's okay, it's nice. Let's show you the god skills now. So here is the god skills setup for this build. On this side there's just 3 points to get that 5% cooldown reduction, which is completely optional. You might wanna spend them elsewhere if you feel like there's a good option for you. And there probably is, but not this one, definitely. Maybe you can go 1, 2, 3 over here. It's still not something that I would suggest going for. This one is probably the best option you can do for 3 points, or even this one, but again there's some things that you don't want. And I think overall probably you could do this for 3 points for extra damage and crit damage. This is probably your best bet. This one or this one. But since you don't need that much energy, maybe that's the best place where you can put them. So let's get down to explaining why I've taken what. So here we're taking Divine Reprisal Mastered, pretty self-explanatory. Taunted enemies take more damage. Sigmar's Herald Mastered, that makes the enemies take another 30% more damage. And then we've got Blessing of the Brave, which I'm not using, mind you, and on the way to it we're taking Sigmar's Bastion, which we are using. Blessing of the Brave is there, and if you want it you can use it. If you think you can rework your skills in a way that it fits you, then by all means do so. Even you might even want to spend one more point here and grab this one and just use that one if you want that extra crit damage. But that's pretty much it for the god skills. Now let's talk about the skills for this setup. So on the skills side you're seeing we've got defensive strike, which is completely a fewer, but you might want to use this one or that one, as long as it's a basic one to fit in the zero cost place. It's gonna be fine. Justice of the Empire, I like it because it pulls enemies, it slows them, and it does decent damage, and also gives us some energy regeneration. And then what else have we got? Sigmar's Herald Mastered. This makes the enemies take more damage. And it also deals every now and then some pulses of damage, which also get bonuses based on some counterattack damage, so having some in the gear is not gonna be that bad. Then Banner of the Empire, you can pick whichever banner you prefer to play with for more damage. This one of course for better cooldown, this one for better energy cost which you don't need, again this one, otherwise that one for the damage reduction. I think this one is the better one because you are spamming cooldown skills, this one and that one. You're proccing Duelist Chain Reaction and you wanna be spamming this as much as you can. And you want this to be on a nice cooldown. Currently it's the cooldown is the same as the duration, so you can spam it. And this one is also the same cooldown as the duration, so pretty decent for everything. Taunt Heroic has a hidden bonus which we don't know, but we do know it is there, which is the damage reduction. So you taunt the enemy, you force them to attack you, then you reduce the damage taken, which it doesn't say by how much. I'm assuming 10, maybe 10, maybe 15, but let's say 10. Then increase the damage dealt, increase the block chance and the block damage up to 10 stacks, which means enemies, you do 100% extra more damage with max stacks, 10% more block chance, and you can fill your energy to 100% if there's 10 enemies near you. Next we have Sigmar's Bastion, which is just some crit chance and some little bits of damage, and this is our main source of healing. Why source of healing, you might ask? Well, Thrice-Blessed Copper Medal, all those beams, each beam is 20% HP restored. So back to the skills. We've got Hero of the Desert, a little bit of everything. I love this skill. Duelist Chain Reaction, which is up to 400% extra crit damage when max stacks. Then Indestructible Master, this goes up to 40% damage for 80% crit chance. So when we max out our crit chance, block chance I mean, when we max out our block chance to 80%, we get 40% extra damage from here, and it's easy to max it out with the taunt, by the way. Then Herald of the Empire, with this one gives us damage, with the other one it would give us damage reduction, so pretty nice. This one gives us and all other players extra 15% damage and 10% damage reduction, and this one makes the taunted enemies take 30% more damage. When it comes to the legendary ranks, that's what I was using. I mean, I probably started with this when recording the footage and then spent some points, but that's kind of roughly what has been used. So I would suggest start with reinforcement, and if you think you need damage reduction, invest into endurance before crushing. If you think you don't need it, just start pushing punishment if you have enough points to start investing into a second legend rank skill, and eventually you wanna have those three and this one. This one is broken right now, Legendary Rage, and Legendary Healing is nice, but you don't have a skill that consumes energy in this build. You have plenty of healing, so it's not a priority. And I guess that's it for the legendary skills. So next you would see some information about the gear for this build. About the gear for the build, you're gonna see that we're using the Meteoric Iron set, which is also called Empire Herald, and then we've got the Blade of Vengeance, which gives us up to 200% damage, up to 30% damage reduction when we have those 10 stacks. Then this one is just optional, you can use any shield you want, but if you're using Pavis of Anger, you're getting a boosted spacebar shield smash ability and boosted defensive strike energy generation. I'm not using defensive strike. I tried for a bit just to see how it is to use it, but it's not worth the downtime of not using this or this or this to use defensive strike. Even the shield smash is better than using defensive strike as an option to do damage, so Let's move on to the medal. Thrice-Blessed Copper Medal to keep healing yourself when you use this one, or when you use this, or when you use the beams of this. And then Signet Ring of Endurance is reducing your damage. It gives you 50% damage reduction while you have energy. So you're not gonna be losing the energy unless you get hit. When you get hit, it takes energy, so the more you get hit, the more energy you're gonna be losing. And eventually, if this is at 0 energy, you're not gonna get that 50% damage reduction. Then on the other ring, we've got Purple Signet Ring. It helps with a little bit of cooldown reduction, so sometimes we can kind of combo this and spam it. And it also gives us 50% damage, which is pretty nice. But that's only as long as we have Bloodwest Orbs to take, so you might keep that in mind. There aren't that many better options, so you can use things like Resurgence, Fortification, Fortitude, especially if you don't have Endurance. I mean, I got Endurance yesterday for the first time this drop, or was it the day before yesterday, but it's a new drop for me, and now before you know it I already have 2 more Endurance rings. So I was using before this, and sometimes I was using even this, sometimes I was using Resurgence, but there's different options. Even Resonance is not bad to just combine it if you have good rolls to combine it with those stuns. This one is not bad to get that cooldown reduction. Now, enough of what items. Now let's talk quickly about what stats, what rolls you might want. On the helmet, high priority, highest priority cooldown, second priority HP, third priority armor, and then you might want to squeeze some counterattack if you can, but it's not a must-have. The rest is fillers. Then here the same, but except you don't have the cooldown, so for this and this the same rules apply. On both of those you want high priority HP, second priority armor, third priority counterattack damage, and the rest is fillers like energy, etc. So for the boots you want highest priority HP, second priority armor, third priority maybe movement speed and counterattack damage, equally important, but counterattack is not gonna be that much damage that it would give you, so it's probably a lesser priority than the movement speed. And then we move on to the gauntlets. Highest priority here is flat damage. Then next after flat damage you probably want to prioritize HP, and then you might want to prioritize equally important armor and crit damage, and then after that you might want to try and get some counterattack damage, and the rest is fillers. The shield can get crit chance, the sword cannot. The shield gets less cooldown than the sword and less crit damage than the sword. So for the shield, highest priority is crit chance, second priority damage, third priority probably should be cooldown reduction, and then you want HP. And block chance and block damage you always get on a shield, but you might want to try and get them to be as high as possible, just so it can help you with that extra damage based on block chance. And the rest should be fillers. You can try and get some counterattack damage, squeeze it in somewhere there, and maybe things like crit damage, health drain, armor piercing would be really good choices as fillers. So for the sword, kinda similar, but there's no crit chance, so the highest priority here is the damage. The second highest would be the cooldown. Then you have HP as the next priority, and then after that the rest would be fillers such as armor piercing, health drain, and counter attack damage. So on this sword the only thing I would change would be, instead of damage over time, I would prefer HP on that one, and then it would be perfect. So for the amulet, it's the only accessory from the three that can give you armor, but it shouldn't be that high on the priority list. So on all three accessories the same rules apply. Crit chance highest priority, flat damage probably second highest, cooldown reduction, maybe second or third highest. It depends what you're whacking. I'm not whacking enough cooldown, so I can sacrifice some from rows because I've got enough here and here. But yeah, crit chance and then damage and cooldown probably equally important. After that you want HP and you want things like maybe counter-attack damage or health drain or armor piercing or crit damage, things like that that are useful. And armor, I would probably put it priority number 4 or 5, so don't prioritize armor that much on the amulet. And for the rings the exact same rules except remove the armor from the equation. And that's it for the rows. Now let's quickly talk blessings. I like having at least 300 and something thousand HP. So you can see on 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces I've got maximum HP, which is basically maximum HP you do like this. 6 unlinked, you can't link them even if you want to, 6 green gems and a god token as well. Then let's talk damage. Eventually you might want to do something like this for damage. And then after that you might want to do something if you don't want that much damage, if you want more HP, you might want to do this. And then if you want more damage, not so much HP, you can do this. So this would give you 4000, the first one I showed you 6000, and the other one is 8000 HP, and each time you remove red gems you're losing 420 damage. So this one goes to 4060 and then the other one is 3600 something, but that's kind of it. And if you want to use this for farming over difficulty, there's one thing you want to do, and that would be this one, to give you crit chance. So you might want to have a secondary set for crit chance. You might want to use Medal of the Exemplar, that gives you wood quality based on how much crit chance you've got, and the limit is 80 crit chance, which would yield 500 wood quality. I think that's pretty much all about the gear, so hope that was enough, and next we're gonna show you some more gameplay and talk about how to play the build. So here we are at the gameplay segment where I talk about how to maybe do the rotation of the skills, what to do in certain situations and so on. The main thing would be, when you start, group up some enemies before you start killing them. Don't kill stray enemies in small groups. Try to make as big of a train as you can, then stop. Then use taunt, then use Justice of the Empire, and then start using the pew-pew beams. And while you're using the pew-pew beams, you want to be spamming taunt as soon as it's ready, and you want to be spamming Justice of the Empire as soon as it's ready. When you see Sigmar's Herald ready, you also do that. And actually I forgot to mention at the start to use Sigmar's Herald as soon as you drop the banner. So the rotation would be, find the group, gather them up in a bunch, stop, plant the banner, taunt them, then do Sigmar's Herald, and then start using something like Justice of the Empire and then pew-pew-pew beams. And while you're pew-pew-pewing, you can see how my taunt keeps recharging super quick and how my Justice of the Empire keeps recharging super quick, and I just keep reusing those. And while you use Justice of the Empire, you're gonna get energy. And this energy would help you keep having that damage reduction from the ring. And while you taunt, you're also gonna get energy based on how many enemies you hit with the taunt, and that again is pretty nice for that damage reduction. And when the damage reduction is not enough to keep us alive, we've got the pew-pew-pew beams from Sigmar's Bastion. I'm not using, as you can see, my defensive strike, my energy generation skill. I don't need it. It's just a fewer 0 point skill there. When the banner is required to be kind of reused when it runs out, make sure to do it right after using Justice of the Empire or right after taunting, so you can make sure you've got enough energy to cast the banner. You can see it's not that difficult, but you have some cases where you might wanna slightly move away from danger when there are so many things targeting you at once, and you probably don't have healing ready, or you think you can't handle that. Especially if you're a new player, you're not gonna have that much damage reduction, and things like here on Chaos 9 you might not be able to survive the same way I did. Especially if you don't have my damage reduction ring and my legend skills. But overall, I'm telling you that for for a group, I believe this would be amazing. I'm still to try it and to get some feedback from teammates how much their damage is getting increased. Maybe you guys could help me when I'm streaming to join me, and if you're on Steam PC, you can tell me how much better your damage can get when playing with me with this build and the other one that I'm uploading today, which would be for the blazing set. So I hope you enjoy playing it. If you need more damage reduction, there's always the other banner, but that's gonna be a huge blow for the damage, but at least you're gonna be much more tanky. And for solo, I do have the Pistolier set for up to Chaos 8, and I do have the Solan set for higher content, which you might wanna check out, but this one is fun, nice project as well. If you've enjoyed this video and want to be notified for when I upload more content like this for this game or other wooters of the hack and slash or shooter wooter variety, you could subscribe to my channel to get those content updates, and you can get notified by clicking on the bell button as well. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope everything was clear. If something wasn't, share your comments, questions, etc. in the section below. Keep it cool, folks. Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.